Alright, I will never get used to the not switching. Alright, so a little early here for Twitch and YouTube. Just gonna notify some other social media. Post. Now all the nuts and bolts. And I'm also going to go live on Instagram, which I've never been able to figure out how to do properly on Restream. So there we go. Comments here. All right, and all right, I am live as about as many places as I'm going to be. So let us go. Just gonna do a quick test here. All right. I won't go into any of my other. So, all right, for everyone that is joining me or may join me or may catch this later, it is Superman Day. And normally at this point on a Friday night, I would have been at work, my day job, for a few hours now. But I am not, because it is also Good Friday, and that is a day off for my employer. So, again, let's see if I can get a good face shot of Superman right here. Here we go. I'm using my All-Star Superman. I'll keep that in the background. And yes, that actually is an autograph from Frank Quitely. So I'm going to have some kind of reference on hand as I go through. Otherwise, not the best of conditions, but still autographed. Okay, hopefully everyone, whoever's there, can see that. So there's always a few schools when it comes to Superman. He is a big guy, but he's not Hulk big. Okay, if there is anyone out there, feel free to say hi. I'm just going to do one quick test. Looks like. All right, the visibility doesn't look too bad. I'm hoping it'll show better where I'm sending from. And YouTube's now tested. All right. So this is nothing elaborate. This is going to be just a 3/4. Maybe I should have done a larger piece of paper for this, but I made the decision now, so. Well, there's no real hard and fast rule that says I have to have the whole S on here, right? Apparently there is kind of there is apparently a trick to this S, but I can never do like the John Byrne trick, or even the Jim Lee trick. I realize for as much as I enjoy Superman, I don't draw him as often as I should. And you can tell, because I'm already having to fix his S. Lots of erasing. So we'll take a second here, look at it's funny that I'm using All-Star Superman. It's probably, like a lot of people here, that is easily one of my favorite Superman stories. Especially when this was rife in the era of decompressed storytelling. You know what? Let me try a trick here. Printed up a few extra copies of this for those that have tuned in. This is a copy of the pencils that I did most recently with the TikTok Tom book Intergalactic, which is essentially the second printing of Temptation, the first book that I became aware of TikTok Tom. One of the earlier things I've ever kickstarted in general. I printed a bunch of extra of those pencils because I wasn't sure if I was going to ink or if I was going to get someone else to ink them, and if I wanted my originals touched. In this case, I didn't. I hope to ink my original pencils myself one day, but I got my good friend Mark to ink that and color it, and he did a bang-up job. And if you guys haven't checked out TikTok Tom Intergalactic, and you should. I believe I have links on my social media bio. If not, ask questions. If anyone's on. And this is the thing about the hair, he's got that little spit curl. And it's funny, Superman is deceptively difficult character to draw in a lot of ways. Seems simple, but I feel with Superman everything kind of has to be perfect. And if something is a little out of whack on Superman, it doesn't take long to notice. So, I'll figure out figure out what I want to do with the facial expression. Actually, I don't think it's. I'll check here. Yeah, typically the rule of thumb for Superman is, as Superman, his hair is rather slicked back. Clark Kent's hairstyle, on the other hand, kind of, I notice, varies from time to time. Get that. Okay, I thought so. Alright, and I just paused on Instagram for a second there, but I'm back. Thought I'd try something. Now, I've got a few influences for Superman. Probably the most influential would be because no one asked for this. Most influential would probably be the animated style. It's the Superman animated series of course, the 90s. The Bruce Timm, Paul Dini kind of era, the DCAU era from 1992. I'm going to say until 2006 because that's when Justice League Unlimited wrapped up. But I know there were a few direct-to-movie things that have come out since, and I don't have the best memory of when the last of those projects hit. Not factoring in DC's Crisis of Infinite Earths. No, I like that. Have them winking. Let's see if that eye is lined up. Always have a problem lining up eyes. Because I have the Frank Whiteley. And this is going to be a trick when I get to the inking and or coloring stage, depending on how far I get with this. So I'm just trying to get a good. I'll have to look at my tablet here. I had a bunch of Superman stuff brought up. See kind of which way I want to go. Another, you know what? If in doubt, can't stray too far with a picture of Christopher Reeve. Nope, I'm not going to do the link. I can't get it to work. This is why Batman is easier to draw. Even though there's a costume involved and all that, it's a cowl. And there's been so many versions of it that kind of get away with a little more, like adding a little more of your artistic spin. I guess the same can be true for Superman, but okay, his hair also isn't. Okay, ignore what I said about his hair earlier. Bring that head of hair down a little bit. It looks. How long have I been? Okay, not long. 20 minutes. 25 minutes. Sorry, usually if there are people talking, I kind of have something to bounce back and forth off of. It teaches me to do these last minute. That helps. Okay, if there is anyone out there, let me tell me your thoughts. Who's your favorite Superman artist and why? No, actually, don't even say the why. And this is a lot of art in general, just a lot of erasing. If I was more confident in it, I would have done this in the style of My Adventures with Superman. That would have been a fun one. Problem, I've seen a few episodes and actually I've enjoyed what I've seen so far, but I haven't. Jaw seems a little. Maybe jaw's too big. See what I mean with the perfect? And it's probably just a me thing. Okay, but not this 30 minutes now. Let's. Okay. Superman has a little dimple right there. Maybe give him a little bit thickness back to his neck there. There's where I was going wrong. Okay. See if I can fine tune that S a little bit. With my eraser crumbles before your very eyes. You know what? I think I've used my rubber eraser a little too much. Time to break into the I kneaded eraser. In this case, my jumbo kneaded eraser. Brand new kneaded eraser, and I'm going to tear it in half. Well, my trick is I'm going to leave I'm going to erase a little bit of what I've got laid out, and hopefully I mean, my strongest pencil line will remain. Not worried. I'm going to kind of go in okay, so there's not a lot of line work here, but you'll see where I'm going with this in just a second. Let's see if I can. Did I? Yes. Because for whatever reason, my Copics, especially in recent years, like to dry out. I'm not sure if it's where my studio space is, or despite the ability to refill them, if Copics markers themselves actually have a life, and after so many years I have to replace them. I don't know. Okay. Let's see if I can lay those colors a little. I'm just laying my basic, or my laying out my mid-tones now. I should probably get scrap paper underneath that. think that's it for my reds for now. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just gonna do something here. Much better. Getting a little thirsty. All right, so I think because it's the smallest part here, I will clean this up a little better. Clean that up a little better, and now I'll get the yellow in. Get the And I'm just laying down my broadest strokes right now. Once I get to the end, I'll be refining more. Getting in with my finer markers and maybe cleaning up some of what I've got in here. But Y08, I'm pretty sure I have. Okay, pretty sure I don't have Y08 in a smaller size. Swell. No big deal. I'll play with, this is the downside of being colorblind right here. Actually, that's a great blue. Although Superman does look cool with a darker palette, it does kind of set him apart a little bit to have the brighter palette, but I am going a shade lighter in case I want to add some shading, or I always tend to veer lighter first because then I can always go darker, but I can't go lighter. And I do have B24, I believe. Oh, I just got to stop talking. I don't have that in a smaller marker right now either. I should do a proper inventory of what markers I have and what sizes. I am 0 for 2 now. Now the upside with these wide markers is I do actually have a bit of control, so I can sorry for all the gulping, just somewhere along the line I got very thirsty. going to save the hair for last, mainly because I haven't figured out what solution I'm going to do for his hair. The issue being primarily that his hair is black, and I'm not sure, I don't want to just ink in a black, like just a black mass, so I'll have to kind of figure out which way to go, because there's a couple of schools to handle the highlights in Superman's hair. The most popular one is to use blue, but every once in a while, actually use a very light gray. So until I figure out which route I'd like to go for that, I'll do that. The thing with Superman is he's got these almost very blue, like bright, light blue eyes, almost like ice. I hope. Alright, I guess it is moment of truth time, which way I would like to go for. Alright, you know what? If in doubt, go with the classic. So I will find a blue here. It's not going to be too much. Now, onto the inking. So, because I've already kind of This is why I'm saving the inking for the very end. A lot of times when I do the Copics first, I tend to go what's considered the proper order, and then I'll do something, get a little too, I'm heavy-handed. The Copics, I'll smudge my inks. And then I'll have to end up re-inking because I went too strong with the Copics. And I'm going to need, you know what I should have done, and I can still do it, is, nope, my wide 100 is, there we go, there. Because it has been almost an hour now. And because I left that part blank, and this is a lot of my thing, I will go back and forth several times. Let's see if I can, trying to get back into inking with the brush. Get back into, it's not like I was ever known for inking with the brush. Okay, still no comments. I don't know. I don't think I have any viewers on Instagram. My restream says I have 2. Excuse me. I'm not sure where. wonder if I should do a. You know what? I don't want to do any. You know what? I think I will do a little more. I won't rely as much on pure inking, so let me just figure out my light source here. Now there's two tricks I have for shading with Copics. I can either go a shade darker, or I can do the tones. I think for the sake of this exercise, I will do more of the tones, and if I had thought this through a little better, I would have actually done my gray tones first. But I did not, so away we go. And the reason I'm doing this, primary reason I'm doing this with my colors instead of black and white, again, Superman is one of those kind of tricky characters. With Batman, you can kind of get away with adding about a million lines. Superman, not so much. I'm going to go back in with my R08. Use my sketch marker this time just to catch some of the faint spots there. Clean up a lot of stuff. Try to downside with my abilities with Copics is I leave a lot of streaks. I'm thinking of it. Actually, you know what? For the eyes, I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to get here we are. Actually, just kind of there we go. Get my Posca and just overlay a little bit of blue. Let's see. will indicate some kind of pec muscle. Here, what I'm going to do is and because I'm cutting through a warm color again, if I'm doing this with my Copic Owl, okay, not quite the effect I want. That is all right. Alright, I think what I'm going to do, just to add a little bit more highlights, okay, made a mistake there, so. Alright, I think I'm going to wrap this up because I'm starting to flub and make mistakes. Just wonder what I want to do with the background here. If I want to do anything. I did not do anything with my Spider-Man. Actually, what I will do is kind of clean up a bit. And maybe I'll get a Micron here to kind of clean up. Actually, I just thought of something I could do for the highlights in the hair here. This one will have to do. Will it do? I'm going to add a little bit more shadow under the nose, maybe under here. And I think I'm going to call that to not concern myself about the background. Again, put my supplies away. And all right, I'm going to wrap this up on Instagram now for anyone that's coming in at the tail end of this. Even if you stopped in for just a sec, thank you very much, and hope to do this again soon. Good night, Instagram. Share the video for now, and I'll do my usual BS after. All right. Oh yeah, that's right. I got a haircut today. A little scungy. That is it for me for now. So, don't know when the next time I'll be on will be, because I had tonight off, but now I'm working for the rest of the weekend. All right, but hope to do this again real soon regardless. And as I move around awkwardly to get in the center of the camera, have a good night, everyone.